Most pedig engedjék meg, hogy szeretettel szólítsam a színpadra következő előadónkat, Krzysztof Bosak urat, a Lengyel Köztársaság Szejmjének alelnökét, a Nemzeti Mozgalom vezetőjét. Előadásának címe az ország határainak védelme, a hibrid fenyegetések és az uniós mechanizmusok, Lengyelország helyzete. Hölgyeim és uraim, fogadják tehát szeretettel a színpadon Krzysztof Bosak urat. Mr. Bosak, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I will speak in English. I hope that a majority of you will understand my message. I will start with maybe 10-15 minutes speech, and then I hope that we will have some discussion, that you will ask some questions. My main goal is to explain the situation about migration and migration policy and problems with migration policy in Poland. First, I would like to thank for the invitation for Rector Mr. Gergely Deli and the academic community of the University of Ludovica. It's a great honor for me to be your guest and to introduce this message from a Polish perspective to you as a future or current public servants for your country, for Hungary. I'm a leader of national movement from Poland. I grew up in Polish right-wing movement, nationalist movement. Now I am a deputy speaker of Polish Parliament, the lower chamber. I'm from the opposition, and my perspective is from the right-wing opposition when we have current liberal government of Prime Minister Donald Tusk in Poland. So I will be quite critical towards the government and towards EU policy. But I think that we have clear and strong arguments to be critical to this mainstream perspective and mainstream agenda to migration policy. So, what I would like first underline that I was the only one Polish politician who came to Hungary 10 years ago to see on my own eyes what's going on your border. Every Polish media, every Polish television described that Hungary has border crisis, that something's going on there. Everybody commented this in Poland 10 years ago, but only me and few colleagues from national movements jumped into the car and went to your border, and we were there for a few days to observe what's going on, how your police, soldiers or border guards work there. It was 10 years ago. Now we have in Poland our own border crisis. There are some differences. Maybe I will ask a question. How many of you know that we have border crisis on the border with Belarus? Who heard about this? Please raise your hands. Okay, and who knew nothing, who never heard about border crisis on Belarus border? Please raise your hands. Okay, I will explain a few sentences. The differences. The goal of migrants is the same as always: to go through the border and to get to the Germany, Sweden, France, and other wealthy countries with a big public social policy. But there are many reasons. The most important reason is that border crisis on Polish-Belarusian border is artificially created. It is not normal or easy route to get to Europe, to get to Germany, going through Russia, Belarus, and Poland. It is organized by some government agencies of Belarus and Russia. The modus operandi is quite easy. People are recruited in the Middle East countries. Then they are taken by planes to Minsk, then by buses to our border, and then they are pushed to the border to go through the border illegally. And if somebody don't want to go, there are many interviews, many statements by these migrants that they were even first trained and then beaten if they don't want to go through the border. So this is why we believe it is operated by special government, special agencies, and it was coordinated with the war in Ukraine. First, they started migrant crisis on our border to engage our military, to engage our border guards and our police. Now 30,000 people serve there to secure the border, and it's still not enough. We invested billions in building border fence. In fact, we built it as a country this in few months, maybe 1 year, not talking about this 10 years, but the decision was quite fast, and then it was even before public authorities decided to invest in the construction of big fence on the border. Our security officers secured the border. It was a few years ago, and since that time 30,000 people from military and from border guard and from the police from all over the country, they served there, and they secured the border 24 hours a day. I will give you some data to understand how serious is the situation. In 24, Polish services recorded more than 30,000 attempts to cross the border from Belarus illegally. And in March 25, the numbers surged again. So we see that it is connected with weather, with it's bigger number in summer. It's of course very cold in the winter, so they stop these people. They give them, if I say them, I mean Belarusian services, government services. They give them place to sleep, and then they start with a spring. So this is artificially created border crisis that we have problem, and it affects also problems in European Union, because some of these people go through the border and then they try to go through Poland to Germany. So the second problem for them and for us is Polish western border with Germany. And this is why Germany started the so-called temporarily controls on Polish border. In fact, they are only formally temporarily. In fact, they pretend to have it constantly, and it is against EU law. Polish state could sue German government to European Court of Justice because they break European law closing the border. And it is, in my opinion, important for you to know that they do not control only migrants, only foreigners, people outside from Europe. There are many people who live in Western Poland and who work in East Germany. And they travel to their workplace every day, and they are controlled every day. And not only the passport, but also the cars, bags, everything. So this situation creates some tensions between Poland and Germany. Other thing that is quite big problem between Germany and Poland now is that the problem of too much migration escalated in German debate and in German politics. And now what German politicians try to do is to gather votes showing that they push migrants to Poland. This is their public policy, that they will push them to Poland, and this is how they will deliver more security for German citizens. And of course, as you can imagine, it's a big problem. Which illegal migrant in Germany came, which route to Germany? So these procedures are not clear, and there is a big space for some decisions which are informal. And I think that for you as a future or current public servants in security institutions, it's very crucial to understand this uncertainty with all legal system. So I will try as easy as possible explain current 4 procedures of pushing migrants from Germany to Poland, because it works in a similar way in every European country in the European Union. And the same problem as we have with Germany, there are between Denmark and Germany, between Germany and Austria, between Germany and Italy, and other countries, probably your country, have similar problems, maybe in some other way. So first 2 procedures are readmission and simplified readmission. They use, it is based on the treaty between Poland and Germany, bilateral treaty, and you can use simplified readmission if you stop somebody close to the border, and if somebody is in the center of the country, you use normal readmission. It works in this way that border guards from both countries, in Germany it's Bundespolizei, in Poland it's a typical border guard service, exchange some documents, and there are decisions in administration made. All administration procedure. We worked on this framework for many years, but then European Union introduced their regulation, which is easier. The name is Dublin III regulation. And under this Dublin III regulation, we can use this, Germany, Poland, every country, every European country can use Dublin III regulation. It's an order of European Commission if there is any link with the asylum. So if any migrant put any request for asylum in any country, we switch from this bilateral readmission procedures to Dublin III regulations. And it's easier because if we have a centralized data framework in European Union, every migrant who wants to give asylum request is put to database. They took his fingerprints, and it's quite easy to analyze if he is in the database. And if he is there, he is under EU regulation send it to the first country. So it is for countries like Poland and Hungary, countries that are on the borders of Schengen zone. It is why it is so important not to take these asylum requests from these illegal migrants, because one time you take these requests, they are in database attached to your country forever. And if they move illegally to any country, they can always send you to your country, like Hungary, or my country, like Poland. And if you are on the normal migrant route, we are as a Poland on 2 illegal migrants routes, eastern route and south route through your country. All these people could show up in our database if our border guards will stop them and document that they are in our country. This is why the question about legality of so-called pushback procedure is so important, because if your security guard or our security guard is taking illegal migrant and doing pushback to the good side of the border without any documentation, there is no proof in pan-European database that this illegal migrant is forever attached to your country. This is why I think this Dublin III regulation is truly not beneficial for border countries of EU, so especially new EU countries, and it's very beneficial for old EU countries which have big problems with too much migration, especially illegal immigration. So these were 3 procedures: full readmission, simplified readmission, and transfers under Dublin rules. And the 4th and most important now in our policy is so-called return at the border, or refusal of entry. Officially, it's a border control, that border guard is controlling somebody and saying, no, you have no permission to go to our country. It's official. but unofficially it works that the border control could be extended not only on the borderline, but on some bigger field of, let's say, borderland. And it's not regulated how wide this borderland in fact is. So I asked many questions to the people from administration, to the people from Polish border guard, and the answer that I heard is that it is not regulated, and we as a Polish country use in our contacts with German institutions the so-called rule of trust. So if Germany institutions say to us that it was a border control, they can send us anybody. And I do not agree with such attitude, because there is no chance to control anything under this procedure. How it happened that Germany or any other European countries could use this procedure of so-called refusal of entry? It is possible after Schengen conventions, but only when you have border control. So this is why for Germany it is so important to introduce border controls, because then they can introduce this easy procedure of excluding anybody from the country. And this is why they are ready to break EU law, defending at the same time the rule of law in Europe and defending so-called liberal values, breaking the European law at the same time on the security level, because they need it. They need the opportunity to put anybody, anytime to other side of border. So if we do, as a Polish country, the same thing on the border with Belarus, it's a so-called illegal pushback. But if they do it on our border, it's officially formal procedure after Schengen rules. In my opinion, it's a big injustice against countries which are on the borders, external borders of EU. You can make your own judgment, but this is how it works. And what is biggest in the debate is, of course, migration compact, EU migration pact. In fact, for now, it doesn't work. It was not introduced in Poland. The official statement of current center-left Polish government is that they will not permit to work to introduce this, because we took millions of refugees from Ukraine, so we have enough, and we believe as Polish nation that we did not enough, but even more than any other European nation taking refugees. But we will see how it will work in the future, because we have presidential campaign, we have elections now in May and in June, presidential elections. So we don't know whether it is truly agenda of our government or only electoral campaign. We will see after elections what they will say. As you probably know, the Polish Prime Minister was also an important politician in this EPP European movement. So new German Chancellor and current Polish Prime Minister are colleagues from the same party. And it's quite hard to imagine that our government will act against colleague from Germany from the same political movement. So we will see. We will see how it will finish, but what is important to this analysis that I try to deliver to you is that we have 4 working procedures and 5th prepared by European Commission, this this procedure under EU Pact on Migration and Asylum. And of course, we believe in Poland that this procedure, this new mechanism of redistribution illegal immigrants around Europe is completely not in line with the treaties. It is based on a wrong base. We believe that we should not obey this law. We believe that it should be accused to European Court of Justice, or it should be ignored by institutions, because European Commission have no power to regulate migration and security policies of member states. It's very important. They try to use some tricks, like introducing this as a so-called crisis policy. But what kind of crisis we discuss if they prepared it as a not temporary but stable long-term strategy to develop new policy in every European country. It's completely illogical. Okay, so I described this procedures. What is interested is what I heard from right-wing members of parliament from Denmark. They told me that Germany is not permitting to take anybody from Denmark who came to Denmark illegally through Germany. So it shows that one European country can use the same rules in a completely different way towards different countries. They gave us illegal immigrants from their country, but they don't want to take anybody back from Denmark, which is obvious that the only land route to Denmark is through Germany. I will say a few words at the end of my speech before we start, I hope, a short discussion. I will say a few words about most important actors in Poland in this debate. So the big actor that do not exist in the debate is Frontex, the European agency which has headquarters in Warsaw, and we heard nothing about their policy, their strategy, completely nothing. Last news about them I heard was that one of their former directors joined our European movement because he was so tired about open border policy in his institutions. And he was a former border guard officer or any other military officer, and he was not ready to introduce a completely contradictory policy. I talked with people from Polish security institutions, and I can claim that there is not even one person in Polish institutions who believe that Frontex will help us in any way. Frontex activism is only a risk, especially on the legal level, because as every European institutions, they are under pressure of so-called human rights organizations, and they can switch interpretation of every law against our national interests. So it's very important for me to underline this, that if you have any proposition to extend competences of Frontex or involve deeper in cooperation, it's always a risk, not a benefit. Then we have, of course, NGO and media. It's obvious that NGOs which works on the migrant issue in Poland are a majority founded from abroad. It's especially Soros network. It's not a myth, it's official. There are millions of euros or dollars which came to Poland to these organizations. They are very well equipped, and they have good legal services against our security institutions. So if you work in security institutions, be prepared that they will go to the court with you, and they will fight hard because they will have the best lawyers, because they have money for them. I will not talk about media because it's a lack of time. I think you know how it works. Then we have, of course, administration. The problem with administration is that it was not constructed for a mass immigration situation. The administration in Poland was constructed, especially my administration working with visa problems, migration problems. It was constructed during communist time, and it was designed to stop Polish citizens in Poland, not to stop any foreigner on a Polish border, or not to control mass migration. So in fact, to deal with these problems, we have to build new administration from the ground, from the scratch. I would say that we need between 2 times more to 10 times more people working on this issue in Polish internal security institutions and in Polish Foreign Affairs Ministry, which is analyzing visa requests from all over the world. Then we have, of course, border guard, and there is a lack of everything, please believe me. We need mass investment in security institutions, and I was yesterday on the biggest conference on defense in our region. It was in Warsaw. We had delegations from 50 countries, defense 24 days. I invite you to next year edition. It is not organized by any party or government, but by some private entity, and I think it's good. Every chief of staff from every country is saying the same. We are not invested. There is lack of money, lack of people. So if you have this problem in Hungary, it's typical, it's in every country. We need more people, more money for the security issues to secure European borders and our countries. Then last actor that I would underline, or maybe one of last, is business and universities. It's important to understand that migration, even illegal migration, is beneficial for some part of economy and even for some universities. In Poland, we have problem of fake students, because the easiest way to get to the European Union, and we had in Poland a big visa scandal with a special investigative committee in our parliament, which worked last year. The easiest way to get to European Union is not through Belarus or Hungary illegally. The easiest way is to get legally as a fake student. So you write some papers, you start as a student, you go there only one time or 0 days, but you enter as a student through the airport officially, having all papers for some dollars written in line with the law. And it's a big question how to close this gap. We have some amendments to our university law. Some universities are not happy because they had big fees for foreigners, and some of them made it a business model, taking money from foreigners, and they understood that it's a fake student, but it was still very beneficial. So even some professors, not because of their mind, their leftist agenda, but because of their business, started to support more multicultural agenda in their university. Then, of course, business. For business, it's not so important how this working force is entering the country. And for business, it's not so important how many people will come as a fake workers. What is important for business is to have working force. So if 1 from 10 is staying and working and then 9 people go to Germany, it's still beneficial for business, but not for the country. Because all of these people, these 9 people who illegally went to Germany, they are still in database, and anytime they can be officially returned to Poland or to your country, any other country. And then this is your problem, because many countries in the world don't want to take their people back. I talked with people from administration about this readmission agreements with the countries, and the majority of countries in the world don't want to have these agreements. They don't need it. They have too much people. They have problems. So it is also very important to understand this. And this last actor is Parliament, of course. We had special investigative committee in the visa scandal. It was quite loud in Polish media. It showed some wrong procedures and some problems in our administration. Now government, better or worse, but try to do something with this problem. Then we have our team, our parliamentary team, which visits borders, some debates, security conferences, and talk with people. And we try to push the pressure on the government, no matter who is in the office, because during Law and Justice government, I was also in the opposition, and we were pushing pressure also for Law and Justice government, like now for Civic Platform government. So no matter who is in the government, left or right, we need some pressure to better the regulation, to better procedures, to strengthen government agencies, and to give security to officers, also legal security, because sometimes the law is so unclear that politicians put risk on you as people who work in government institutions or security institutions, not on them who create the law. So this is also an important problem. This is, let's say, the map from my perspective of the problem and the situation. As you see, it's quite complicated. It took some, I would say, months, but in fact, it is years before we understand it, everything, how it works. There is no any written report in Polish language which gathers every issue and every problem and explain this to the people. So I think it's very important to organize speeches, lectures, good debate, true debate about the issue. And this is what I have for you, my knowledge, my experience. If you have any questions, I'm open. If your English is not excellent, please ask your questions. We will try to understand, and I will give you my best knowledge from my perspective. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And who has the microphone? If anybody has the question, please raise your hands. Raise your hand. And please help me to develop the discussion. We have 10 minutes more. This lady has the microphone, so you can raise your hand and ask me. If you are not interested in border crisis, you can ask me anything about Poland and I will answer. Okay, please.
Hello. So if I understand it correctly from your speech, it was your party's idea to defend your borders, or it was your party's, they were the first that mentioned that you have border crisis, and in the media I can only see the current regime of your country or your parliaments, that they stand behind this idea, and they like to show in the media and social media mostly, I gather information from there, that it was their idea. Because it gained popularity, it gained sympathy, I think, in your country and in other countries, and now they essentially, I think, they use your ideas and to gain social media and sympathy from other countries. And how do you affect so how does it affect your party, and what is your opinion on this matter?
Okay, so first let's start. What was the situation when it started? We have another member of parliament here from Justice, Janusz Kowalski. Please help me. It started in 2021, the border crisis. When it started, it was 21. We have also Kacper, a writer from Poland, 21. So it started at 21. It was during Law and Justice government. So we had such a situation that we had right-wing government law and justice government with a coalition with smaller right-wing parties. We were as a confederation. I'm among the leaders of Confederation, Freedom and Independence. This is our whole name. We were in the right-wing opposition to the government, and we had also many mainstream or center-left or left-wing parties in the opposition. So when it developed on the border, the situation is not so clear that one party proposed something. It was clear for everybody that we have to secure the border. Government, law and justice government, introduced that they will build fence, then the wall. We supported from the first day the idea, so it was not the idea by one party, it was a idea of every sane people, because it was like everybody understood that it will be a big problem if we won't secure the border. Like it was in your country, we saw how it worked in your cities, on your border. Nobody wanted the same situation as you had 5 years or 6 years earlier. Or maybe it was 7 years earlier. So many proposed, government delivered quite fast. From the center left, one party, let's say agrarian party, also supported, which is now in government, and their leader is now a minister of defense. He's quite centrist, we can say. And the center left opposition, which is now in power, they strongly criticized the defense. They were very much that time in opening borders, human rights agenda, and crying about every migrant, showing every man as a child, every illegal migrant as somebody that we have to do everything and give them everything. Yes, this was their agenda at that time. But when they got into the government, they switched they completely changed direction. One day after they are in government, all this propaganda left behind, except maybe left. But even left now in Poland believes that the border fence is necessary, and they started to criticize previous government as not enough effective in building this fence. So from the position of criticizing government that they build the fence, they switched to criticizing the previous government that it was not enough well equipped, not enough high, not enough strong. So from our perspective, it's quite funny, it's quite stupid, but these are not serious people, these are politically correct puppets, so they can switch any statement anytime, and they are not ashamed. So so now they even improve the fence. They buy new equipment for security. People they even said that they will introduce a new kind in our military of special units to secure only the borders with Belarus. So they understood that this law and order agenda is beneficial, and if they of course they analyzed social polls, and they understand that if they want to win any elections, they have to be defenders of Polish borders. So what they try to do is connect securing borders with some kind of human rights and rule of law agenda, and in effect in serious schizophrenic attitude, because the same migrant on the wrong side of the border is bad, but when he get illegal to our country, he became good. And he can put request and ask for asylum, and we have big rise of asylum requests, unfortunately. I saw data that you had last year something like 30 in your countries, and we had something like 4,000. So it's a big mistake, but our justice minister is very lefty. There are tensions in the government, yes. There are some centrists, and there are more people left-wing oriented. So people responsible for justice are more on the left, and people responsible for security are more centrist and focused on not making too much controversies inside and outside the countries. This is their true agenda, yes? To be somewhere in the center and not to have too much problems with public opinion and with European institutions. This is my answer. Thank you. Any other question? Please.
My name is Taniguchi Tomohiko from Tokyo, Japan. I am one of the invited panelists. Thank you very much for your fascinating speech and enlightening speech. I was wondering if you could tell us more in detail about the following. Which countries in the Middle East you see most of the migrants or would-be migrants are from? What kind of advertisement, if any, Russia, Belarus are doing in gathering those would-be migrants?
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any financial incentive to recruit those people? And can you detect which government agencies are involved? Thank you.
Okay. To know thank you, Mr. Professor, for these questions. To understand this in so many details and to have all these answers, I should be responsible for Polish intelligence, probably, intelligence agencies. Unfortunately, I'm not a director of intelligence community in Poland or any other country, so I don't know these details, but we have some knowledge from open resources. So we know that people are recruited on some WhatsApp groups or other communicators. There are human traffickers who propose their services. Probably some of them are in connection with some agencies. I can imagine that the most important is Belarusian KGB. They didn't even change the name from the communist times, so they still are KGB people. But we don't know anything official. Is there any link to Russian FSB? Of course, they knew about everything, but we don't know exactly are they involved and to which level. It's obvious that there are so many people who would like to go to Europe that they can change countries, and they will always have people who will pay for that. So I don't think that they propose any financial benefits. I think that they recruit people and take money from them, and it's a rather benefit for security people from Belarus to organize all of that, because it's a business for them also. So I think that the cash is going from Middle East to Belarus, not from Belarus to Middle East. And which countries we can follow, because as you probably know, the flight communication around the world is not hidden. You can analyze the routes of aeroplanes. So we saw that they established new connections between Minsk or Moscow and some non-European countries. And it was orchestrated with presence of illegal migrants on our borders. So even our diplomacy worked with these countries to close these flights to Moscow or to Minsk, to close these routes of illegal immigration, because at the beginning some of these countries didn't understand that they are part of such an operation. And of course, there is no country in the world, I hope so, who would like to officially be involved in such an operation. So they switched, as I know, many countries. I will not say the names of the countries. Maybe other colleagues from Polish delegation remember to which countries these flights operated. But in my opinion, it's not so important, because you can decide any countries. This month, one capital city anytime another, and we know that people who want to get to the European Union, they can go through different countries. If they can go through Moscow, they can go through any other countries in the world. Going through Moscow to Germany is not the shortest way, yeah? So they can organize as many stops and flights as they need. But I think that the main operator was Belarus and KGB, and they earned some money on this operation with permission from their government, and their government were permitted by Russia to organize this. In fact, it was a test on our border. Are we prepared for the war before the war started in Ukraine? Please.
First, I want to thank you for your wonderful presentation. It's very enlightening. My name is Sean, and I'm from the United States, and I happen to have been a director on the Trump presidential campaign. Now I'm a visiting fellow at the Danube Institute here. Thanks to media bias in my country, we often do not get these sort of perspectives from countries like yours in Poland on the reality of what's going on. So my question is to you, what message would you have for the American people and the Trump administration about what's going on in Poland?
Oh, it's a wide question. First is that President Trump met after elections with Polish President Duda, so it was not a very long meeting. It was on the CPAC meeting, but I think that Polish president showed his perspective. In fact, I think that we have a typical situation for any European member state with center-left government which hates the right and is trying to do everything to stop right-wing parties to go back to the power. We see these tendencies in France, we see these tendencies in Romania now, some tensions we see this in many countries, in Germany, to stop parties with national conservative agenda. And in Poland is quite the same. I think that we have a problem with rule of law, but it's not a problem with one party. It's a problem with legal culture and invalid institutions, especially post-communist institutions that was never ever decommunized in any way. So for now in Polish courts and Polish justice system we have a completely strange situation, because judges from law and justice times, normal people after legal university studies, are questioned by European institutions that they are illegal judges. But people appointed by a communist dictatorship in the 80s are these democratic legal judges. For me, as a right-wing politician and people who a man who was a child during 80s, it's completely strange. I think that no American institution should support this perspective, no matter Republican or Democrat. And of course, what is important for from Polish perspective and or Eastern European countries, new EU countries, is a cooperation with United States on the security issues. Yes, we see this discussion that United States are leaving Europe. From our perspective, it's not very good message for allies. So if you can say the word about, let's say, loyalty in our alliance, it would be useful.
Right. Thank you. And we have some problem with some judges too. I feel you.
Yeah, we follow also the problems with migration policy in the United States. We see that courts question President Trump's agenda to secure your borders. It's quite similar. But fortunately in Poland, not so big problems with courts for now. The situation in the United States is quite similar to the situation in Italy. Whatever the government of Meloni will establish, courts is trying to block, or before to Mr. Salvini. I think that our time is ended. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presence.